Welcome to all of you who are attending today. We appreciate you being here with us. First item is the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? If not, and if there are no objections, it will stand approved as presented. You received the minutes several days ago. Are there any changes to the minutes? Hearing none, if there's no objection, they'll stand approved as presented. And I'm going to call on Allison for some introductions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. Just want to take a few minutes, and we have some special guests here today, and I want to make some introductions and let some folks talk a little bit about some of the things they are doing. So to start with, we have some of the team from our Visitor Services Department, and we have our Visitor Services Department head, and that is Gina Zarin, and I'm going to recognize Gina and let her introduce everyone to you.
Thank you, Allison. Good morning, everybody. I have my illustrious Visitor Services Department here, almost everyone. So we have group sales, we have ticketing, we have Operation Overnight, and we have our volunteers. I have two that are on vacation, and that's Bianca over Operation Overnight and Kevin, who's over group sales. So with that, let's start with Kelly Kennedy. She comes to us from the airline industry. She's been here a couple of years. I stole her from Operation Overnight, and she's back. She was out for a little bit, but she's back and doing great. We have the lovely Rashida Hamilton here, and Rashida is like a sponge. There's nothing she doesn't know, there's nothing she can't learn, and she does it in like 5 minutes. So she's a Visitor Services Coordinator, which is wonderful because she supports all of my departments. She's doing a phenomenal job in group sales and ticketing. She's our trainer, our process documentation person, and she's just delightful. Whenever I say, you got it, are you good? She goes, I had it yesterday and I'm fine. So wonderful. Drew Barrett is our volunteer coordinator, and Drew's been with Patriots Point for probably 9 years?
Volunteer-wise, 10 years. My
10 years.
current role, almost 1 year.
Yep. So Drew brings a wealth of knowledge about Patriots Point to the volunteer team, and he's doing a fantastic job. And I would like to take a moment and introduce somebody that's very special to us, and that is Miss Rosetta Gathers. She comes to us. She's a native of Charleston. She actually is Rashida's auntie. And so I am lucky to be able to call her auntie too. She allows me to do that. Very happy about it. She lived in New York. She holds a master's in education. She has an honorary doctorate in divinity and Christian counseling. She helps and empowers children everywhere she lives and every space that she's in. She's just a delight. She's a spirit and a light, and she works mostly in the turnaround. And please don't let this sweet face fool you. There's been a couple of dust-ups at the turnaround, I will honestly tell you, and she has handled them. Not only does she handle them, she calls me and tells me what happened, and she goes, don't you worry, it's handled. And I'm like, Auntie, that's wonderful. So she's just a delight, and we just love her, and so thank you, everybody, for being here, and thank you all for what you do. Thanks, Allison.
And I'll just add, I won't name names, but we had a board member have a little run-in with Miss Rosetta. Trying to sneak in without their pass. She shut it down. So you guys do a great job. It's a very big job. It's a very important job, and we really appreciate all that you do. I'd like to make one more introduction, but first I'd like to start with a little video clip. Be up in just a second.
Years ago, the USS Laffey fought off an attack of Japanese kamikazes at the Pacific island of Okinawa. The ship sailed on, but 32 crew members perished. Their legacy was honored on board the Laffey during a special out at Patriots Point.
I found out about its history probably my second year aboard.
My dad was on the ship from 1956 till 1959. Men come aboard this ship and can relive the days that they spent on this ship. The ceremony began by the shipmates of the men that died that day. But as they've passed on, the flag's been picked up and carried by other former crew members.
I served aboard 68 and 69. My first ship was an attack transport, and it suffered the same fate that the Laffey did at Okinawa.
Francis Ray Hallis, fireman first class. What it would have been like on the 16th of April with explosions and fires and noise and mayhem going on.
The ship took quite a beating, but she kept steaming, kept shooting.
James William Fravel, Lieutenant JG. It's inspiring to listen to these guys talk. Think about the laughter and the camaraderie that those young men must have shared on this ship when they were at sea for 3, 4, 5 months at a time.
Please be with the families and friends of our departed shipmates. Please bless our ship and her crew.
A passionate Georgetown County Planning Commission meeting tonight as residents push back against revising the land use element within the comprehensive plan for the county.
Okay. With that, what you saw was a clip from the memorial ceremony for the Battle of Okinawa that happened on Tuesday. And we have had the Laffey Work Party here since Friday. And I'm going to hand the floor over to Mike Hunsinger. He is the president of the Laffey Association.
Good morning, folks. This is my dad, Chip Hunsinger. He was on the Laffey from 1956 till 1959. It was his first assignment after he got out of Annapolis, and he was the engineering officer and operations officer on board the ship. And he's been active with our work parties on and off over the years. And my vice president is Jim Bossard. His dad's our chairman of the board, and Jim's been real active with the association even longer than I have. He's been coming to these work parties for 12 years, and he oversees primarily our corrosion restoration efforts on board the ship, painting and so forth. So it's been a year since I've talked to you all last, so I wanted to just give you a little recap about what we've been up to. Our number one priority is keeping water out of the inside of the ship. So there's several different layers to that. The first one being sealing up holes, and there are some holes in that ship that you can easily stick your hand or even foot through in places. So some of that repair is done by us, some of it's done by the Patriots Point ship fitters shop, welding up the holes, and then some of them can be filled simply as with some caulk. In any case, all that involves some grinding and removing rotted metal and rusted out metal. And so oftentimes you might see or hear about the crews over there repainting. It's not as simple as just getting out a bucket of paint and painting it. It often involves cutting, grinding, welding a new piece of metal on there, and then the painting process is a several step process where we remove the salt, prime the surface, paint it a couple of times, go back and touch up some spots that missed. So it's a little more complicated than just pulling out a bucket of paint and painting in any case. Plus we have the challenges of staying safe, working up off the deck, and so we've got ladders and air hoses and water hoses to drag around, and of course we want to provide a safe environment with the tourists moving around, and also restrict making too much noise and dust and that sort of thing. So we're sensitive to all of those things as we work around the ship. So this week, I'll give you one example of a leak that we fixed. We had a leak show up last week on a rainy Thursday in the wardroom, which is towards the front part of the ship, and it's on the main deck level. And our guys tracked it back and found it was the one of the windows up on the bridge, one of the what you call a windshield, a layman would call the windshield. And so it turns out that window, there were some reasons it was leaking. The frame and the seal needed to be fixed, and as long as we had it out working on that, the glass was pretty rough shape. You couldn't see through it very well, so now we have new glass in there. Just put it in this morning and sealing it up. But that water had made its way down several decks and also aft about 100 feet. And so anyway, some of our leaks are that complicated. Some are a little bit more simple, but we work on those in conjunction with the Patriots Point crews to get the ship sealed up and also prevent leaks in the future. So every single work party, we always do some level of metal replacement and painting, and so that's primarily Jim's bailiwick. So second to keeping water out of the ship, our next priority is safety. So in that area, we have begun a fairly substantial project a few months ago where we are replacing, or at least inspecting, all of the wiring, outlets, switches that are in our living space as well as other places in the ship. And we're doing that in conjunction with Patriots Point. Kind of what got our attention on this was last September, we had to move the two big cables that bring shore power into the ship. We had to relocate those in order to allow us to cut a doorway to allow us to have the tourists move from the engine room into the fire room. So as we got into the wiring, looking at that sort of started a bigger project to look at wiring throughout the ship. And Patriots Point now has plans to basically replace or refurbish all the wiring, not all the original wiring in the ship, but all the wiring that's used today, both for tourist displays as well as our area, air conditioning, fire, and so forth. So, so safety, both us and the tourists, is a big priority for us, and that's the second thing that we're working on. Third priority is to help out with displays. We're not only working with Meredith to restore and improve the current displays, but we're also creating new display areas. And right now we're focused on the gun director up on top. So that's the little box up on top that would identify targets that the guns would shoot at. And that information gets sent down below, down by the crew's mess, to the plotting room. That's a big computer that's half the size of this table, that's got as much calculating power as your cell phone does. But in any case, we're working on some things to refurbish that room, so those two projects kind of tie together. And then we have a aft cruise head area. Doesn't sound very interesting to some folks, but there are a lot of people that want to see how other people go to the bathroom. So it's the only bathroom, we'll call it, the only head on the ship that the tourists can see. And at this point, they can just kind of look in the door and not too much to see. But we have plans to allow them to walk in there and see up close, a little bit closer, what all that looks like. And then we have the serving line down below, where the crew would come through and get their food and walk into the mess. This past year, one of the Patriots Point volunteers completely restored the wardroom pantry, so that's the area where food would have been prepped for the officers to go into the wardroom. So we have a number of areas like that, 6 or 8 areas that we're either improving or adding. We have to be sensitive as we add more areas because it means more long-term workload for Patriots Point. So we work in conjunction with the curatorial staff to make sure it's something that they can keep up with. And of course, we're also working with Dave Coates' maintenance staff to make sure that whatever we're doing is something that they can maintain as well. So I want to highlight a couple areas of Patriots Point staff that have been particularly helpful to us. One of us is Gina and her crew. We have probably at least once or twice a month, we have Laffey veterans contact either myself or Patriots Point through the website. Hey, I'm coming to the Laffey, I'm bringing my nephew, is there anything special you can do? And Gina's been extremely responsive, she and her team, to meeting these guys. Sometimes she'll get them filmed, capture their veterans story on film, and in any case give them a personalized tour, make sure they get onto the property and have a welcome. So that works really well. In the ops department, Chris Jones folks, fire safety, we deal with those folks quite a bit, and then the badges, golf carts, all those kind of areas, we get a lot of cooperation from them. We appreciate the new signs that have gone up identifying that Laffey's here and that Yorktown's not the only boat at the pier, so that's it's kind of a sensitive issue to some of our folks over the years, and so it's nice to see some Laffey signs up. Dave Coates, guys, the ship fitters shop, the electricians, the painters, Probably forgetting a couple others. Even the grounds maintenance guys were really helpful last year. We had to remove our memorial tree out of the parking lot. They helped us out with that, and also getting metal to and from the laydown yard out here. And it's really a joy. I've worked with a lot of volunteer organizations, and you have different levels of cooperation with the agencies you work with. But I found that the Patriots Point teams at every level has just been extremely helpful to us. So we really appreciate that. We know we're a bit of a whirlwind when we come roaring in here, for a week or 10 days, and it's difficult because we sometimes need some kind of short-term, short notice support, and we get that, whether it's manpower or compressed air availability or guys coming over with a piece of equipment, and or their specialized teams coming in and fixing something or giving us access to it. So we really appreciate all the priority that the Laffey's given, because we understand that you guys have a lot of stuff going on here. So can I answer any questions about the Laffey? What's going on?
Any questions for Mike?
Mr. Chairman, just want to say thank you, Mike, particularly for the way you handled the memorial on 16th and the remembrance there, and all the work that you guys have always been about doing and the care you take for the ship. But I was talking to your dad earlier, and Chip, you were talking about, which I thought was a fascinating sort of look into life on the ship, how you had to learn to sleep with your hands locked together, so as the boat tossed, you wouldn't thrown out of the. How was that?
Exciting.
Just one of those like what life was like kind of moments. So I thought it was really fascinating. So.
Well, twice while Dad was on the ship and standing on the bridge, if you could imagine that ship, you go up there and stand on that bridge and imagine the whole front end of it poking through a wave, to the extent that it blew in a window and got him wet. And then as the engineering officer, he was the guy that had to get his crews to take care of that problem and fix the window so the water didn't keep coming in. But and also twice during his 3 years, they had a wave come along, knock out duct work, and dump salt water on top of the electrical panels, which killed half the electrical power in the ship. That happened twice while he was on board as well. So it's amazing some of the challenges that the young men had on that ship,
Sure.
wartime and peacetime, and how they handled it. So
Yes, sir. Thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate all you. Is that it, Allison? Committee reports. Ms. Marlowe, Museum and Education.
Good morning.
Morning.
We had a great meeting yesterday and received reports from Education, which is Keith Grabowski back there, and Meredith Cablett. And both reported about the great progress they're making towards achieving a lot of the components of their master plans and their objectives that they have. Keith reported that Flight Academy, the progress is coming along with redoing that space, and the metal part of the construction is done, and now the RFP is out for the simulators that will come in and that the kids will use for a lot of different, I guess, types of classes and different opportunities that will come when all of that is all set up and going. In the meantime, we've already had 5,000 total students come through, and that's this month, Keith? That's this month.
5,000 last month.
In the last month.
Just in March.
And 2,400 of those were in some of our guided programs, and so some of them were field trips, and but a lot of them about half came through programs that they use. The busing thing with the parking and the new situation is all right, and they're eating food outside, and that's working out fine. And also, we've partnered with Moultrie and Lang, which are both middle schools here in Mount Pleasant, that are very, very good schools. And we have been approved by the State Department of Education to be a provider to Moultrie for their curriculum. And we're also going to be working with Lang Lang wants to add our model for their 8th grade program. And the goal is to get Patriots Point acknowledged within the state system and become a provider and resource, a curriculum resource officially recognized by the state, which is huge for this kind of outside activity and agency to be included as a resource in that curriculum. And Keith's done a great job. He's working with Ellen Weaver to get all that straightened out. And then we also discussed some of our materials that are just academic things that we hold here to be put together and organized, and possibly with a goal maybe of having the State Department recognize a resource like book or program or whatever's to be used throughout the state with all the curriculum standards and aligned to those things. But the credibility for all of that, the baseline for all of that is coming from the relationship that he's building with Moultrie and Lang. Also, they have 70 science kits, and I can't explain this, but it sounds really cool. 70 science kits that they have that they send out to schools. And the science kit comes with these materials, and it comes with the guidance and the projects and all these experiences for the kids to do. And this one is the part I can't explain, is the Catapult project, where they use these science kits in the schools, but then they can come here and they take them below. Keith, you just have to explain it to see how the Catapult system here works. And it's just a terrific experience for them that applies the math and the science and the history and all of those consolidated areas into this really, really great ending point of coming to visit on the ship and see those things. So we're really excited about the progress he's making, and especially towards the Flight Academy and the great potential that's going to have. Meredith told us about the launch of the new website. There'll be 10 collections and 10 stories that will be put on there that are going to be told through the artifacts of the people who served and their voices, the roles of the soldiers. Patriots Point is going to be a pioneer in the music ships field in that area. With marketing, they'll be putting stories on social media. And as far as exhibits, she told us about the library space that they are recreating, this below decks that was actually like the library that was really here. That's now finished being completed and being installed. In early May, that will be open. And they're also finishing up the officers' berthing quarters to redo that for this display. And that'll be opening after the Medal of Honor museum opening also in May. She also reported, and this goes back a little bit about the flags that we hold that actually are Japanese or have a different provenance, and 2 of those have been returned to the families of the people. It's just an exciting story. You have to get her to tell you this. I'm not doing justice to these incredible things they're doing. The Vietnam repair base, those repairs are ongoing, the walkways. And they've also installed a new audio kiosk at the Huey, and it will have a goal to include oral stories again with the artifacts of the actual actions of those aircraft. They're also working on the communication shack, and Allison also added a few things for that are coming up within the department heads and volunteers and other things that will be big progress for the museum and the education department. So,
Any questions for Ms. Marlin?
or Allison. Thank you so much, y'all. It's just always impressive to come and hear what all you got going on. It's just a lot.
Thank you, Susan. Development Committee, the new pricing structure that we approved last month went live this week. That website that Susan noted is due to go live to launch in late June. Is that right, Chris? So we're looking forward to that, partly because of what Susan was just saying, plus just a lot of good stuff on the new version. The Bennett guys will be in front of the town coming up in May with their Seafair Hotel, the first hotel, and their infrastructure plans. We understand that they are digging a lot deeper into the design on the Grand Patriot Hotel and the Conference Center, and that's coming along. And of note is that Mike will be here in May at our meeting to remember we be committed to doing this. We're you can think about that over the next month. So how about operations and facilities?
Okay, well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Few things under operation, then I'll get into the finance part. We are increasing, or operations is increasing the amount charged for rental of event space. They're also working on a number of adding additional exit patterns and installing some emergency lighting. And the fire marshal has approved all of the changes and is supportive of everything we're doing. In addition to all of that, there's no end to the painting and the ongoing maintenance that's occurring on the ship. From a financial standpoint, cash on hand, we have $15.5 million worth of cash on hand, which is an increase of nearly $1.4 million over the same time last year. Our operating expenditures and depreciation are all in line. If you take a look at the components that make up all of these numbers, paid attendance, camping attendance, mission, et cetera, most of them are down just a freckle from last year. However, lease revenue is up $280,000, which has offset that. So for the year, we actually have a break-even number as compared to last year. So we're doing pretty good financially. And Mr. Chairman, that completes my report.
Hopefully this year we'll have no more freckles. Right? No freckles.
I'll take that
Age
out.
spots at some people's age.
Thank you, Don. Anyway, any questions about facilities or finance or development? Hearing none. Executive Director, Allison.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board reports went out with a more comprehensive list of everything that's going on, and then we had a lot of committee reports, so I will keep my comments very brief. I want to make an introduction. We have a new interim marketing director. That is Sis Rita. Sis, I know you're here. There she is. Sis is, a lot of people may recognize Sis. She was our marketing director a few years ago, and so she knows Patriots Point, and she's come in for a 3-month interim period. So welcome back, Sis. Race Week. It's Race Week. I don't know if you all noticed the hubbub around the hangar bay as you were coming in, but the mayor and I had the pleasure last night of welcoming the skippers meeting for Race Week. So we have events that started yesterday. They'll run through Sunday, and they are here. They are racing all day, and they are partying on the ship all night. So we've got somewhere around 1,200 sailors every evening. So there was an event last night, tonight, and tomorrow night. I hope that you've noticed some of the branded merchandise. We changed the branding this year. We hosted Race Week last year, but this year we are partners, and we have rebranded, and it is now Charleston Race Week at Patriots Point. So we're very excited about that. And one of the things that is really cool about Race Week is 90% of the people that come in for Race Week are from out of town. So it gives Patriots Point and Mount Pleasant a lot of good exposure. It's very important for our ATACs and our heads and beds in Mount Pleasant. So it's just a great community event, and it's a great partnership, and we really enjoy having everybody here. Just a couple of notes. We had a lot of events this past month. We had the Medal of Honor Day ceremony on the Laffey. That was very, very It was very nice. We had a recipient who came and spoke, and it was a very special day. Many of y'all came out and braved that very cold day. We had Vietnam War Veterans Day. And that was a great event. General Livingston spoke, and it was really just a lot of great feedback on that. We have a volunteer committee that works with our staff to put that event together, and we had a wonderful turnout and a really, really special day. And then you saw the Battle of Okinawa Memorial Ceremony, which our Laffey crew makes so special. Coming up, we will the opening of the Medal of Honor Museum is coming up in May. We are very excited about that. May 25th is the opening date. We are going to get a little sneak preview walkthrough after the board meeting today. So they are working really hard to get that done. So it'll be fun for you guys to get to see it in the works. And that is all I have.
Great. Any questions of Allison? If not, are there any public comments? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to move into executive session for legal and contractual matters, including the Medal of Honor. Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Aye. The ayes have it. We'll take about a 5-minute break.
Give me, would you mind giving me that? And I'll trade you if you want one. Give me where you made the note.
Yeah, that's the museum
Right.
opening.
Thank
I mean,
you.
the public, that's the day it
Public.
opens to the public.
Right.
You might clarify that for everybody here, because you might be, when you were talking.
We're back.
about
Yeah, it was a
that.
little, so there's the public, the Medal of Honor Museum opens to the public on May 25th, but you all are invited to to the ceremony on, oh gosh, May the
15th
or
15th,
16th.
yes. So
And
but that's just limited, that's recipients and, it's a VIP event, so that next weekend is the public opening.
Okay, well, we're out of executive session, no votes were taken. We're back in open session. If there is no other business, the next board meeting will be May 17th, 10 o'clock, May 17th. That's it. We're adjourned.
All right.
Thank you so much for
Thank
your time
you.
today.
Shall we
Thanks, Zeb.
head down and
I
go
will
tour
love
the
that.
Medal of Honor Museum? I'll let